Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Since we're getting on to fall in October, getting close anyways, I thought I would go ahead and share some more things that have been happening in our house. For anyone who is just now checking out this video, go check out my whole playlist and you will see just everything that's been going on in our house since we moved in. We've been here a little over a year now. For anyone just tuning in who doesn't know, we inherited my grandparents' house. My grandfather died in this house, and ever since moving in, we've just had things happen that are unexplainable, essentially. And as I said, there's a whole playlist for us, so go check it out if you want to kind of get caught up on everything. Not that you can't watch this first. It's not going to be like, you know, detrimental that you have watched the others, but this is just kind of an update of what's been going on. We haven't had near the activity that we had when we first moved in and we pulled the carpet up and all that stuff, but we have been having some things happen here and there. One thing happened in particular last night that was so freaky, like literally, oh, it just made my heart drop. It was so freaky. So we're gonna pick up Molly so she doesn't knock over the camera. Last night I was sitting in my living room feeding Levi, who's my son. For anyone who doesn't know, just tuning in, he is 2 months old, and I was sitting there feeding my son, and I had the door to his bedroom wide open, which is right there in the living room. You can look right into his bedroom from the living room. The door is wide open, light was on, and I was sitting in the living room just feeding Levi, and his bedroom light was the only light on in the house. It was getting later in the evening. We were winding down for bed. Mike had already gone to bed, and as I said, his light in his room was the only light on. So sitting there feeding him, and I was watching TV. I did have the television on, and I caught movement out of the corner of my eye, and I just look up and look in his room, and his ceiling fan is moving, and that ceiling fan had not been turned on for days, and it was not turned on when I turned his light on. It was not on. It was not moving. It started moving on its own. I should have filmed it, but I was feeding Levi. I didn't really have the extra hands, but it was spinning, but it was spinning really slow. Like when you turn off a ceiling fan, it gets really slow right before it stops. And I kept staring at it thinking it's going to stop moving. It's going to stop moving. So it was going so slow, but it wouldn't stop. It just kept spinning. So I go back to watching TV. I'm like, I'm just going to ignore this. And a few minutes later, I glance back up at it, and it's still moving, but it had gotten even slower. But when I looked at it, a few seconds after glancing at it, it started to speed up again. Still really slow, still like as slow as it goes when a ceiling fan is turned off and it's stopping, but still spinning, and it sped up a little bit. And it did that on and off the whole time I was feeding him. And then I remember he was getting down to like the last ounce or so of his bottle, and I was sitting there like watching the ceiling fan, and then I heard him stop eating his bottle, like it started having air going through the nipple, and the ceiling fan stopped. It just stopped moving. It was so freaky. The whole time my like heart was in my stomach. I was like, oh my god, this is so creepy. That is like so freaking creepy. Now we don't have things happen as often as we did, like as I said, when we first moved in, when we were like kind of pulling up carpet and making some changes to the house. We had a lot more movement. Sorry if I'm getting a little more quiet. My neighbors are outside, so I don't want to bother them. So yeah, that was so freaky. And then I have a list here of everything else that has been going on. I've kind of been keeping tabs. As I said, it's been spanned out over a couple of months. You guys probably remember, if you've been watching these videos, when we pulled the carpet out, we had a lot of stuff happen, like consistently. Same thing when we moved in. So we haven't really had much going on, just random things like last night with the ceiling fan. And then we'll go days and weeks, months without having anything weird going on, and then something will happen. So something that happened several months ago was, and this is pretty common for our pets and now our son, to just sit there and stare at the wall and act like somebody's talking to them. Like Oliver does it all the time. Banjo does it occasionally, not a whole lot, and Molly does it fairly frequently. And then now Levi, he'll stare at the wall and get like this giant smile on his face, like somebody's talking to him, and there'll be nobody talking to him. But Molly in particular brought her ball to an empty chair. Now the way our house is set up is like the dining room and living room are kind of like an open concept. So they're, you know, you can see the dining room and the chairs from the couch. And I was sitting on the couch watching TV. At this time I was still pregnant with Levi. And one of the chairs was pulled out and it was like facing into the living room. This happens, the cats will jump up on the chairs and they're on wheels, so they kind of like they'll roll and stuff like that. So I don't remember if we had been sitting in the chair and left it like that, or if the cats did that, but the chair was sitting facing into the living room, facing angled towards me, which is what made it even creepier. And Molly and I had been playing fetch, and then out of nowhere and randomly, instead of bringing her ball back to me, she brings her ball to the empty chair and prances around it the way she does when, come here, and prances around the empty chair, drops her ball, and is like wagging her tail and looking up at the empty chair like somebody is sitting in it and like she wants them to pick up the ball and throw it. It was so creepy, and it was super creepy because the chair was facing me. Like if somebody was sitting there, they had been facing me. So creepy. So after that, I went and pushed in the chair and was like, we're done with that. That was freaking weird. Next one happened to Mike. Now, my husband, when we first moved in, was like a non-believer of ghosts and spirits. But now, since he's had a few things happen, this one thing in particular, and after seeing our son and our animals just act weird, like acting like somebody's talking to them when there's nobody there, now he's kind of like, oh, is Grandpa here? You know? But this one in particular, I think I was taking a shower or something, and Mike was sitting in the living room, and the nursery door, which my son's bedroom, sorry, I have an itch on my elbow. My son's bedroom was my grandpa's bedroom. When he lived here, my grandparents had separate bedrooms because as my grandpa got older, he had bladder control issues, so they just had separate bedrooms, and that was my grandpa's bedroom. And I think the entire time they lived in that house, even when they shared a bedroom, I think that front bedroom was the bedroom that they used. So my husband is sitting in the living room watching TV. I was getting a shower, and I come out of the shower, and my husband's like, the door just opened on its own. And we have that happen. Sometimes doors will just slam shut. Sometimes they'll just open. And our doors are old, and they stick. Like, they don't open and shut easily. Like, I mean, they shut fairly easily. But as far as getting them to latch, I should say, you have to push them kind of hard to get them to latch, and you have to pull them kind of hard to get them to open. And the door was shut, and it just opened. Just opened on its own. Right there, and it really freaked my husband out, because normally when things happen, it's because I'm home, because I'm home the most, by myself anyways, and he just always kind of like writes it off. But what happened to him, he was like really kind of freaked out by it. Same thing happened to my mom. My mom came over to watch Levi, and I don't remember if I had left or if this was right after I had Levi and I was sleeping, because my parents, they were awesome. I had a C-section, for anyone who doesn't know. It was unplanned, but I had to have one. And the first week home, Mike took off and was able to be there. The second week, he had to go back to work, so my parents came and stayed with me during the day. And they were letting me sleep, trying to get some rest so I could, try to heal faster. And my mom was there, my dad wasn't there at this time. And she said that the same door just opened on its own for no reason. She's sitting there watching TV, the baby's asleep, and the door just swings open. And it's freaky when it happens. I've seen them open, I've seen them shut. As I mentioned in a couple of these videos ago, of my house is haunted videos, I was grooming a dog in my kitchen, and my basement door just slammed shut for no reason, and it slammed hard. So creepy. This next one I think I already talked to you guys about, with Levi smiling and cooing at walls with nobody being there. Oh, I forgot all about this one. I still don't really remember it, but I have it written down. But I thought I heard Mike talking to me, and he hadn't said anything. If I remember correctly, I was in the back of the house, and I thought Mike was talking to me, and I came out, and I was like, what do you need? What are you talking to me about? And he was like, I hadn't said anything. But I heard his voice, and I thought he was asking me a question, but I couldn't hear like what the question was. I just heard his voice. So freaky. Which I've had those kind of things happen before. If you watch my Haunted Armories video, or staying a night in a haunted armory, I'll leave a link down below. So freaky. You guys just have to watch it. But there was that armory was so haunted, and I was hearing my dad's voice down at the other end. I was a military brat. My dad was the supply sergeant for this particular armory, and I stayed the night at the armory with him because I thought it would be cool. And I'm laying there like looking at my dad. He's like on a cot across from me in the same room, sound asleep, but I could hear him out in the hallway talking to somebody. So creepy. And this happened here with Mike. So not the first time I've had that happen, but still freaky when it does happen. We're still finding random nails. For anyone just tuning in, after my grandpa passed away, my grandma would find random nails in random places throughout the house. And since we moved in, we've had that happening. It still happens. Well, you'll just find a random nail, like you could walk through the dining room and there'll be nothing on the floor, and go into the kitchen, and then you come to go back through the dining room and there'll be like a random nail in the middle of the floor. Like, no idea how or why that got there. Gotta pick it up and throw it away. Okay guys, it's been like a little over a week since I started this video. Sorry about the interruption. My neighbor came outside and we started talking about the vacation she went on. So let's go ahead and get back into everything that's been going on. And we've actually had a few more things happen since I started this video. Okay, so next thing to talk about is having some makeup disappear. And this was totally weird and random, but we have this happen occasionally. I think this is the second time something's happened. Mike actually had his hair mousse come up missing. He has like this, like, I don't know what you call it. It's like shaved on the sides and like this big, you don't really hawk it up, but it's a popular style guys are doing, and he uses hair mousse to control it. Anyways, he had a brand new bottle of hair mousse and it has just disappeared. We are still waiting on this to come back up. No idea what happened to it. It was always put in the same place after he finished using it, and it's just disappeared. And then I had some makeup disappear. I had my eyebrow makeup come up missing, which I actually asked Tara, who's one of my friends here on YouTube. We did a makeup swap. I can leave links to that down below if you guys are interested in checking out our makeup swap. But it was right after her and I did our makeup swap that my eyebrow product came up missing that I was always using. It's the e.l.f. brow kit. So I sent her a message. I was like, did I accidentally send it to you? Because I couldn't find it anywhere. I checked all of the drawers in my vanity. Now I use this product every day, and I always keep it on top of my vanity with all the other makeup that I use on a daily basis. And it just disappeared. It wasn't there. I checked all of the drawers. I checked around the floor. I checked the box of makeup that Tara had sent me and that I hadn't put away yet. I got a hold of her to see if it went to her. I started looking in random places, and I finally gave up on it. It was missing for well over a week. And then I went to open up a drawer in my vanity, and there it was. And it was a drawer that doesn't have very much makeup in it. I know that I checked if it was in there, and it wasn't in that drawer. But there was, right at the front. Don't know how it got in there. I never put anything in that drawer unless I'm just like not really using it. Like I said, there's only a couple pieces of makeup in that drawer. It's stuff that I do use, but it's not often. And the stuff that I use on a daily basis, like my brow product, I keep right there on the top. It just disappeared. Same thing happened to my highlight. I have a cream highlight that I love. I think it's from Model Company. I've talked about it in a couple of my favorite videos, and I keep it right there on top of my vanity. And it came up missing. It was about the same time as the brow product. I think that one went first, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I checked all the places that I checked with the brow product, all my drawers, the box that Tara sent me. I didn't actually ask her about this one because it was only gone for a couple of days, but then I found it, and I don't even remember where I found it, but it was someplace really random, like the coffee table or the kitchen table, like someplace I would not put my makeup at. And these are places that, like, I know what's there, and the coffee table, that would be so obvious. I keep the coffee table fairly clean. I know what's on the coffee table, and if it had been sitting there, I'd have noticed that, but it just, I don't know, just reappeared in the most random place. We are still waiting on Mike's mousse to come back. Got like a hair flip going on. We are still waiting on Mike's hair mousse to come back. It's been like 2 months now that that's gone missing, maybe longer. So, not really sure when that's gonna show back up, but we just have random things come up missing, and then they come up in random places. So this next one again has to do with the nursery door opening or closing. This particular time, the cat was in the nursery and he got shut up in the nursery. I always give the cats the option of getting out because they know the word get out or move or go. They know those words. So when I'm in a room and I'm getting ready to leave and I'm going to shut the door, I'll tell them get out. And if they don't want to get shut up in the nursery or, you know, in that particular room, they leave. Because they know I'm going to shut the door on them. I'm not going to leave it open. Because the dog will get in there and have an accident. She's good with most of the house, but if you let her in a room and you don't keep an eye on her, she'll have an accident. I'm not sure you can really call it an accident, but I'm pretty sure it's on purpose. But anyways, so we keep the door shut so the dog can't get in them. And if the cats get in there and they won't get out, then I shut the door on them. And then eventually they will start sticking their feet under the door and crying. And then I know, okay, they're ready to get out of the door or out of the room. So this particular time, Oliver was in the nursery. And I told him, you know, get out, I'm shutting the door. And he just stared at me and turned around and ran under the bed. So I was like, okay, I guess you want to get locked up in here. So I shut the door. He was in there for a few hours. Well, it came time for me to be feeding Levi. Again, this one happened when I was feeding Levi. And the cat started crying and sticking his paws out from under the door. And I figured, okay, well, I'll open the door for him once I finish feeding Levi. Because I'm not going to take the bottle away from my baby to open the door for the cat. Because baby would scream and get super pissed. And the cat had his chance to get out when I was going to shut the door. So I was trying to finish feeding Levi, and then out of nowhere the nursery door just swings open, and it opened pretty far. And as I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, our doors kind of stick, so once they're latched you kind of got to push them to get them to open. It's not like an easy open. And that door, like, it wasn't just like creaked open a little bit and the cat like nudged it open. No, it like opened, like somebody pushed it open. So that was kind of creepy. And then the cat got out and was all happy, and it's like, Grandpa, he liked cats, so it's kind of like the cat was stuck in the nursery and he's like, here buddy, I'll help you out. This next one happened probably like 2 weeks ago, maybe. We got Levi one of those exercise play mats, if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like this flat mat, and it's got these arches that go over it, and it has like toys that hangs down for the baby. And we've had it just laying in the living room so Levi can lay on it, and he's not really interested in the toys yet, but I try to like show him, make him play with them. And we leave it in the living room in the same spot. Well, I packed up Levi and we left, went to go do something. The cats were out and Molly was locked on the back porch. When I got back home, it had been picked up, I can't say picked up, but it had been moved across the living room. And the way it was laid out across the living room looked like somebody had picked it up, moved it, and then like laid it out nicely so it was set up. I know this wasn't the animals because, as I said, Molly was locked up on the back porch. And then for the cats, they've ran into it, but when they run into it, like, yeah, it kind of moves, but it gets like all crinkled and shoved up, and then like the arches like fall over and collapse. They don't leave it pretty. But how I found it was it looked like somebody had set it up on the other side of the living room, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, I don't really, and also like none of the toys were knocked off of it or anything like that. When the cats run into it, like toys will fall off. Like I said, the arches collapse, the mat gets all scrunched up. They just don't leave it nice. Another one was I walked into the kitchen to find our Lazy Susan had been spun around. Like our drawer. We have an actual, not drawer, we have an actual cabinet that is a Lazy Susan that spins around for all of our spices. And I always close my cabinets, and this particular day I think was on a weekend because Mike hadn't been in the kitchen yet. Not that he would have gotten into a Lazy Susan in the morning anyways, because he doesn't eat breakfast. He just gets stuff out of the fridge for like his lunch. Like his lunch is already made. He just gets his lunchbox and like a bottle of water and he leaves. So he doesn't get into the kitchen cabinets anyways, but I believe this was on a weekend. And I got up first and I came into the kitchen and my Lazy Susan was open. Like somebody had spun it around. So I had to go close it. But that's not the first time I've had the cabinets open. We're all just like walk in and a cabinet's wide open. Like I've been up all day, I know the cabinets are shut, and I'll go into the kitchen and a cabinet will be wide open. It's the first time for the Lazy Susan, but it's not the first time for a cabinet to be open. This next one happened really recently. Like we're talking 2 days ago recently. So for Christmas last year, my mother-in-law got us these little, they look like tennis balls almost, but they're for hanging in your garage so that when you are pulling your car in, they'll bump your car and it'll let you know that you're in as far as you can go, right? But these ones in particular weren't actual tennis balls. They were plastic balls that look like tennis balls, but they have a little light inside of them that starts blinking red when they're bumped. We never got around hanging them in our garage. Mike opened both of them up out of the package, and then the cats got a hold of them and have batted them all over the house. And one of them in particular is broken, so we had to throw it away. This other one ended up underneath of one of our end tables by the couch, and I'm just lazy and never got around to picking it up. And it's been sitting there for probably 2 months. Untouched. Cats haven't messed with it. They only messed with it for a little bit until I got it wedged up there underneath the end table and the couch. And like I said, it's just been sitting there for 2 months. Well, I was coming through the dining room the other day. We were like winding down, getting ready for bed. Levi was in his swing in the living room, which is right in front of where this ball is. And he's trying to go to sleep, and I'm just trying to get bottles ready for the night and all that stuff. I walk through the dining room into the living room, and and all the lights are off, except I think the TV might have been on. And I walk into the living room, and all of a sudden, bright red lights start flashing, and I look over, and this ball is just going off. It is just flashing red lights, and nothing is there. The cats haven't been under there. Like, it was off until I walked into the living room, and then it just started flashing bright red lights. It's the first that it has done it, and all the time that we've had it sitting there under that couch. Well, not under the couch, but it's like kind of next to the couch. But that's the first time that it has done that, and all the time that it's been sitting there, it has never just gone off on its own. It has started flashing when the cats would play with it and bump it into things, but that's the first it's just done it. So that was kind of creepy, especially since it was right behind my baby, and part of me wanted to like grab up Levi and like run him off to our room, but on the other hand, like, it's probably Grandpa, and Levi was trying to go to sleep. And I didn't want to wake him up because he was about out, and he's getting to the place where he kind of fights asleep, which is why we're out here today, because he's fighting his morning nap. He'd start to go to sleep, and then he'd see me and he'd start crying. So figured if I came out here that he'd pass out. But anyways, it was just creepy. It was extra creepy because it was by my kid. So this here is going to be like the last little stories or happenings that have been going on. So as some of you know, if you've seen my second to last video that got posted, my cousin's husband passed away pretty tragically last week, and everybody, her family in particular, they all came up from Texas, and her sister, my other cousin, her sister, which is my other cousin, and my uncle, which is her father, they stayed here with us. Her mom stayed with her in Elwood, and my cousin that came up from Texas, her and I hung out here a lot. She brought her son up with her, and I hate to say that we had a good time, but we really did enjoy getting to see each other, considering the circumstances. I mean, it was really sad, but neither her or I were particularly close to my cousin's husband, and so we were really sad for my cousin, but we weren't really devastated by his loss. It was sad and still shocking when you think about it that he's gone, but it wasn't like a super heartbreaking thing. So her and I really did have a good visit while she was up here, and she had a couple of things happen as well, which this would have been her grandparents' house also. So my grandpa who died in this house was also her grandpa. So I don't know what I was doing. I was in the kitchen or the bathroom or something, I don't know, but she was in the living room. I think she was feeding her baby. A lot of this seems to happen when we're feeding our babies, but they had bought this toy over the weekend when they were up here. They went to the store, and she found this toy for her baby. It was like this, I think it looked like a remote control, and like you push buttons and it sang. It had like a little light that flashed at the top of it. And anyways, it was sitting on the coffee table across from her, and it was turned off, wasn't on. And she's sitting there feeding her baby. All of a sudden, it turns on and starts playing music, and it starts lighting up. It was just kind of creepy. I didn't see it, but I came out of the bathroom, and she was like, this just happened. And then I was like, yeah, freaky things like that happen in here all the time. I think Grandpa's just hanging around. But yeah, that is everything that's been going on in my house. I hope you guys have enjoyed. As I said before, this has been spanned out over the last several months. I've been taking notes just because I don't want to get on here and make a video every time something creepy happens, because it's not enough to warrant a whole video in and of itself. But, you know, all compiled together makes for a decent length video. But all of this has been going on since my last My House is Haunted video that I posted. So that's been a while. It's been a good long while since I posted one of these, and it's just, things have just been happening and I've been keeping track of it. So that's everything. Let me know, have you guys ever had any kind of creepy paranormal experiences? Let me know in the comments below. I love hearing other people's experiences because it lets me know I'm not crazy, because trust me, I know this makes me sound like I'm insane. So let me know I'm not crazy. Tell me some of your experiences down in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next